I'm going to talk a little bit about sitting in different positions. So as a mom, a new mom, or mom with toddlers or infants, you're going to spend a ton of time sitting on the floor, whether it's changing diapers or playing with your little one while they're kicking under their play gym, or once they're sitting and crawling, you're going to spend a lot of time on the floor, kneeling and playing and all those kinds of things. So one thing that I find is some people will have pain either when sitting or when standing up from sitting postpartum. And there's some things that you can do when you're sitting to kind of help with that. So one variation is if you tend to sit cross-legged like this, and then when you stand up, you have pain, maybe in your back or your pelvis, your sacrum area. One thing that can be very beneficial, because what happens is we tend to sit back like this and kind of tuck under. And so that can put some pressure here on your low back and your pelvis. One thing that can be really helpful is to elevate your bottom. So placing a yoga block or books or a couple pillows underneath your butt at home so that you're sitting more like this, you're elevated. So if you're gonna be sitting in one place for a little while, try placing a yoga block or something underneath your butt and see if that helps with that pain when you stand up. It just helps keep your spine in a more neutral position so you're not as slouched and tucked under, putting too much pressure there on the low back and sacrum. So try that, that's one option. My biggest recommendation is just to vary how you sit. Don't sit the same way every single time. So sometimes this is great for if you're changing a diaper and you're like this, is sitting on your knees. My feet are flat. You're also gonna get a good stretch through the whole shin here into the front of the foot. So sitting on your knees, if that's okay. You can also put like a pillow underneath your knees here if you have like difficulty getting with this full knee bend in this position. You can put a pillow between your knees. So that's another variation. And then a side sitting. I love side sitting, just sitting like this and switching sides. So you're working on a little bit of hip mobility here, especially if you switch sides. So kind of sitting like this, and then if I switch, I'm sitting there. So I'm getting different rotation of my hips depending on which way I'm sitting. So play around with both ways and sitting there. But those are a couple good variations. So I love side sitting, kneeling, and then you can sit cross-legged like this, or elevate like I showed you before, or also another one that's gonna work on some just stretching and mobility as well, as to sit with your legs wide. And you can vary, maybe you can do one leg at a time and sit like this and play, and then switch and do the other leg, okay? So the biggest thing is vary your position. Don't sit the same way for a while, because then when you stand up, your hips are gonna feel stiff and achy. So the best advice I have is to switch positions often. Give some of these a try if you haven't tried that before. And hopefully they help with that achy feeling, or if you're experiencing any pain when you stand up.